What's up guys, Jeff Cavalier, AthleteX.com. Today we're going to cover the 6 best bicep exercises. That's right, 6, not the only 2, because since when do we live in a world where we're forced to choose just 2 of anything? Abundance is the rule of the day here. However, that being said, 6 is going to cut it because what we want to do is select the bicep exercises that fill in all the gaps and actually put the science behind the selection of those exercises to make sure that you're not missing out in any of the areas that you could use more help. So let's start breaking them down here, guys, one by one. So when it comes to the bicep exercises, guys, the number one you have to start with always is a version of a barbell curl. I said a version of a barbell curl because the standard barbell curl is something we can actually get the benefits of in other ways. I'm going to show you how to actually take that to another level. But the cheat curl is one that I've been preaching here for a very long time because of the benefits it provides us. How is it different? Well, what you see here is that I'm allowing a little bit of momentum to help me to get the weight up, but only if you're using weight that's heavier than you're used to potentially using on a regular performed barbell curl. In other words, what you can concentrically lift. We're going to take care of that again. I said that in a different exercise. Here, we want to take advantage of the fact that our muscles are stronger eccentrically than they are concentrically. So if we can get that weight up via a little bit of a cheat, then we can overload the eccentric, which is a known stimulus for hypertrophy. Now keep in mind, when I go up into this sort of cheat portion here, I'm making sure not to break the vertical. What I mean by that is I have this imaginary vertical line behind my body. I'm not breaking through it and actually leaning backwards through it because I'm taking away a lot of the work of the biceps in order to do that, and I'm now at this point simply just heaving the weight. You've got to be able to stop that momentum at vertical and let the biceps do the work. And from there, of course, slowly lower the barbell down to put that eccentric overload on the biceps. All right, next up is an exercise that also allows us to do what the barbell curl does, and that's progressively overload, but it does so in the form of our own body weight. And this is the chin-up. Certainly the best bicep exercise you can do with your own body weight, but it's actually one of the best exercises, period. Because we can add additional weight if we want to continue to progressively overload the exercise. But more importantly here, this exercise trains ourselves to utilize the biceps to not just pull ourselves up to the bar, but also to control that descent. It's another eccentrically overloaded exercise. As I get closer to the bar towards the top of the exercise, you can see the engagement here of the biceps. And as I go down, I can actually lean back just a little bit to accentuate that stretch to once again make sure that I'm getting those eccentric benefits. Usually, the exercise itself in its pure bodyweight form is damn challenging for most people, but if you need be, you have that option to add more weight to keep the gains coming. So there you have it, guys, your 2 exercises for building big biceps. You don't need to watch the rest of the video if you believe in that. There's a reason why there are other things that we're going to show here, and your gains will benefit from watching it, I promise. So let's talk about the next one. It's the dumbbell crossbody curl, and this is going to provide benefits that are different and unique to this exercise that weren't provided from the first 2, even though I love those first 2 exercises. What we're going to do here is we're going to be able to hit the brachialis more effectively because of the positioning of the dumbbell during this exercise. The pronated grip here during the exercise is going to allow us to take away one of the functions that the biceps provides, which is supination of that forearm. And by doing so, we're still getting the elbow flexion component of any curl, and that's going to be driven more effectively, especially if done at slower speeds, by the brachialis. And there's no reason to avoid brachialis development if you want to build your overall upper arm size. We know that building up the brachialis will thicken the arms, widen them out in the shirt sleeves, and also contribute to the overall mass of the upper arm because it lies underneath the biceps. So no reason to cut ourselves at just 2, guys. Include this one as well, and I promise you, you're going to be happy you did. All right, so I mentioned that there's other ways that we can curl, and there's actually ways we can accentuate the normal curl, and that is with this banded dumbbell curl. So the dumbbell curl gives us the opportunity to do the more strict standard version of the curl where the overload is really focused on the concentric portion of the lift. But the additional band here is going to apply a different strength curve. We know that when we do a regular curl, the strength curve looks something like this. It's a little bit easier in the beginning, hardest here in the middle, and then a little easier again as we get towards the top. When we use a band, the curve changes dramatically. It starts out pretty easy because there's very little tension on the band, and it continues to ramp up as we go all the way up to the top. It gets to its most tension because the band is stretched to its greatest length. So if we can overlap the two, we can fill in the gaps. We don't have to have that leveling out and drop off in the middle. We can continue to keep that going because the band will provide that for us, and that's exactly what we're doing here. So again, when you want to say that we're limited to just a couple exercises, how are you filling in the gaps of this? You're not. And again, I'm not saying you need to do all of these in every workout, but this should certainly make its way into some portion of your overall biceps training approach. All right, moving on, if you're going to build your biceps up, you have to respect the fact that you don't want to just focus on the sweet spot, in other words, the mid-range of all the exercises you're performing, because we also want to apply tension to whatever muscle we're trying to build in the other ranges of motion, the other portions of the overall range of motion, meaning in the area where the biceps is going to be most lengthened or stretched, and the area where the biceps are going to be most shortened or in the contracted position. My choice for that stretch position here is the incline dumbbell curl, but I call this the incline stretch curl because there's a couple things we can do to make it even more effective for that goal. Obviously, you're going to use lighter weights here because you're placing your biceps in the stretch position, and they're going to be weaker anyway. But you want to take it to the next level by applying a deeper stretch. And you can do that by simply pronating the forearms at the bottom of the curl. Now remember, the incline setup itself is going to take your arm and put it back behind your body into extension. And if we realize the full capability of the bicep is not just to supinate and flex the elbow here, but to also flex the shoulder, then taking that shoulder down into extension is something that we want to do. And adding the additional pronation takes care of that second component as well. The third thing we can do here is we can actually consciously contract the triceps. And I've shared this tip before. When we do that, we're going to get a reflexive relaxation of the biceps that's going to enhance that stretch even further. You perform your curls out of here with the main focus being, I want to provide this tension to the bicep in this elongated position, and it provides yet another unique benefit that the other exercises simply don't. And last but not least, guys, again, it's worth the wait. Cutting yourself off at a couple of the big exercises, while I love them, again, it would not have given you the benefit of this exercise, and this is a keeper. I talk about how you want to make sure that you take that bicep and apply tension in that stretch position, but you also have to apply it in the contracted position. And the best way to do that is with one of these exercises. I actually showed you the spider curl in the past, and how getting our arms out in front of our body actually allows for that shoulder flexion, for that supination, for that elbow flexion. Then I showed you this exercise, and actually Jesse fell in love with this exercise so much that he did just this exercise for 30 days and actually saw benefits from it. And this was the dumbbell waiter curl. And keeping your dumbbell in this position here with the dumbbell facing flat up towards the ceiling actually allowed us to get that peak contraction of the biceps. And if you have tried it, you've already probably seen that for yourself. But guess what? Again, always worth the wait here. You can combine the position of the spider curl with the execution of the waiter curl and get an insane bicep exercise, which is what I'm doing here. It actually frees the dumbbell up to travel more freely to the top without the legs getting in the way and not having to compromise the benefit that the exercise provides in the first place, which is that overload in that peak contracted state. Again, worth the wait here, guys, and another reason why you need to sort of look beyond just 2 exercises when you're trying to figure out what exercise to use for your biceps, because they all serve a purpose. In this case here, scientifically, they all serve a specific purpose in our overall training approach. So there you have it, guys, 6 exercises, my super 6, if you will, for training your biceps. And like I said, guys, so many times in this video, I don't think you have to limit yourself to 2. Now, could you get results by doing just 2 exercises? Could you grow your biceps? Of course, you could actually grow your biceps really, really well with just the damn chin up. But the purpose here is to make you more aware of your own strengths and weaknesses. Find out the areas that you can strengthen and apply exercises that help you to do that specific thing. And if you do, your overall biceps growth in this case is going to benefit. Your overall training will benefit from taking that approach to all the rest of your workouts. If you're looking for complete workouts, guys, you can get them over at athleanx.com. Step by step, I lay them all out for you, day by day, making sure that we always apply the science to the selections of what we do. And if you haven't already, guys, make sure you click subscribe and turn on your notifications so you never miss a new video when we put one out. And also, guys, make sure you leave your comments below. Let me know what I'm going to cover, and I'll do my best to do that for you in the days and weeks ahead. All right, see you soon.